India and abroad. It is truly my pleasure to welcome you all to the inauguration of the second edition of Smart Lift and Mobility World 2026. On behalf of the entire Virgo team, I extend my heartfelt thanks to each one of you for being here today. Your presence is not just encouraging, it reaffirms the power of collaboration, collective ambition, and shared responsibilities as we come together to shape the future of vertical mobility. Smart Lift and Mobility World was conceived not just as an expo. To move with time, we had envisioned it as a platform, an integrated platform rather, bringing together elevators, escalators, mobility solution, access control, parking systems, so which is all today integrated with one another. And we see that this is the need of the hour, and we would like to continue in this path to take this forward. The platform is a convergence of ideas, insights, partnership, and leadership that will define how people move within the built environment. As India builds taller, smarter, and more inclusive cities, vertical and horizontal transportation has evolved from being just a back-end infrastructure to becoming a central enabler of urban experience, safety, efficiency, and sustainability. Today, mobility systems are no longer just a component in a project. They are strategic value drivers. They directly influence project ROI, operational efficiency, user satisfaction, accessibility, and ultimately the livability of our cities. In a rapidly urbanizing India, how people move within a building and across spaces is fundamental to how cities function, grow, and thrive. Over the next few days, Smart Lift and Mobility will showcase new technologies and products, host knowledge sessions addressing the future of vertical mobility, integrated infrastructure planning, safety, regulation, and people-centric urban development. I would like to highlight a few of the initiatives that makes this edition truly distinctive. As a part of Elevator World India Summit, we are hosting a dedicated session on home lift market opportunities. We see, being in the industry and addressing and following the industry, we see there is a lot of home lifts requirements in India, which is also being serviced, but they have not really been considered under the entire ecosystem in a way which should get its due credit. So we are going to talk about the opportunities, a fast-growing segment driven by changing lifestyle, aging population, premium housing, and the growing need for personalized and inclusive mobility. Another key focus on independent elevator companies as a rising force. This again we feel is long due to get credit, and we know there are a lot of very expert people who are successfully running this business in India, and we would like to give them an opportunity in these kind of platforms to come forward, share their experience, share their stories. That gives an encouragement for the new generation who's coming into this industry to take this business forward. Alongside, as Shreyal said, we will be on the second day hosting a Future Building and Smart Mobility Summit. This was a concept which we thought, we still need certain platforms where we still bridge the gap between the builders and architects to the elevator segment. So our exhibitions, as you know, traditionally, globally, if you see, it's more driven by the component industry and to a large extent, few players who participate from the elevator segment. But we want to change that format. We really want to work to see how we can bring all these people together, and we are able to service bringing the right audience for each of these segments. So that is a role Future Buildings and Smart Mobility is doing. I would also like to give you a little bit of insight about how we really did some of the media work this time. So this platform has always played an important role in the media engagement and policy advocacy. Over the past year, we have actively amplified the industry's voice on the need of one nation, one lift policy, and on the importance of stronger budgetary support for real estate and infrastructure sector that directly drive urban development and vertical mobility. And we were encouraged to see these perspectives acknowledged at the national level, including reference made by the Honorable Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharamanji, reinforcing the growing recognition for elevators and mobility sector as a vital component of India's manufacturing and infrastructure ecosystem. Our elevator safety run with over 3,000 participants who have registered is not just an event, it is a movement. It reflects the industry's shared commitment to safety, awareness, best practices, and the responsible growth while actively engaging with the larger community. The Smart Lift and Mobility Awards, you are all aware, but the people who don't, this is also another initiative we have taken to recognize the builders and architects and the visionary projects which are being happening in India, and how do we encourage them to think elevators first when they're designing. So that was the idea behind this. Now, before I conclude, I would like to say that we have taken a lot of initiatives, and there's a lot of takeaway for you all in this event. But before I conclude, I would like to thank all our advisory board members, Mr. R. Balakrishna, Mr. Anirudh Bapat, Mr. Mutaki Ahmed, Mr. Uday Kulkarni, Mr. Krishna Kumar Ravi, Mr. Kumar Swamy, Mr. R. Venkatesh, and Arun Narang. They all have been very closely working with us to see that our vision, what we have, we are in the right direction, and I truly, truly appreciate everybody's contribution.
Just a little background. So, Elevator World is the global publisher for the elevator industry. I am the third generation following my mother in continuing Elevator World. Elevator World was established in 1953 for the purpose of really bringing the industry together, recording what is happening in this industry, and continuing it on. So it gives me great pride to be able to carry on my grandfather's vision of supporting this industry. And that's really what Elevator World has always been about. My grandfather really established Elevator World to be there for this industry. We have not diverted our attention really to anything but the elevator industry now for 73 years. Elevator World reaches more. I mean, we're the single only independent publisher covering this industry. We cover all of the major markets: Middle East, China, Turkey, Europe, UK, India, of course. So this has been the desire of my family to dedicate themselves to this industry, and so I'm really proud to be a part of that, proud to be here and support this event. Elevator World continues to be partners literally with every association, every event across the planet, trying to help achieve the goals of growing this industry and making it more safe for riders, for the industry as a whole. About 20 years ago, we partnered with Virgo Communications, and I remember Raghu contacting me over and over and over, wanting me to come to India and meet with him and come to that first event. And finally, after many calls, he convinced me to come. And never being in India, it was transformational. I tell people, if you've never been to India and you come, it just opens up your mind to the world, because it's such a different place with so many people, so many colors, and such wonderful people. And so it's been a great partnership, Anitha. We've worked really hard to grow Elevator World India. I'd really like to talk a little bit about Anitha and Raghu and Virgo Publications and what these guys are doing. They were really the first group to put on an exhibition in this country, and now they've continued on year after year, creating a brand new smart lift and mobility integrated platform, where bringing all of the stakeholders together to communicate, broaden their horizons, and improve construction, architect, all of these things that are vital to the elevator sector.
I'll just briefly touch upon what is happening in Asia Pacific in terms of the codes and standards, and how Pacific Asia Lift and Escalator Association, which is PALIA, is having an objective and is working towards having one code across Asia. That is what is the objective, and that is what is the work that PALIA is doing. That means we want one one code or one standard that works in whole of Asia Pacific. That has a lot of advantages, but the biggest one is, the barrier-free trade. That means we can export elevators and escalators to any country within Asia Pacific, and then have the same product which can be installed everywhere. So that becomes very easy. It becomes easy for the users, it becomes easy for the regulators, it becomes easy for the inspectors. Everybody is comfortable with that. And then eventually we also work with WEF, which is Worldwide Elevator and Escalator Foundation, to have a common code across the world. That's what is the final objective, that we should have a common code across the entire world, and the certifications. So there are currently, every country or every region requires a component level certification for every safety component, which is mandatory, and then we may have different certification requirements, different fire testing requirements. So we should have one certificate which is valid across the whole Asia or across the whole world. That means I cannot manufacture a lift in India suitable for Indian codes and then export it to other country within Asia Pacific or anywhere else. But as you can see that in 2019 we had an objective of one world, one code. So this is the objective on the bottom left. So every world, the entire world will have one code. At the moment we are here. You can see only the Canada, USA and Japan. These three countries are having their own code. Canada has B44 and US has A17.1 and Japan has a JIS code. So these three major countries are still not aligned to ISO standard, which we are working, and they are also getting aligned.
So today, let me focus on the growth aspects for the market in India. In India, the fundamentals, the way I see it, are very strong. We are already number 2 in the world in terms of number of elevators sold as any individual country. We continue to see rapid urbanization. There is significant migration continuing from the rural areas to the urban areas. And as a result of this, cities are getting crowded, and to accommodate people, buildings are getting taller. What this all means is the need for vertical transportation is increasing, but increasing in terms of not just quantity but also quality. Why I say quality is because buildings are also getting taller. So in my view, now we are witnessing a very rare coming together of various beneficial factors, and it is up to us to grab it. Let me first start with the budget. The 2026 budget was presented very recently, and we heard the finance minister tell us that there will be a scheme for enhancement of construction and infrastructure equipment, especially focusing on high value and technologically advanced components. This also covers the elevator industry. There is also a scheme for city economic corridors, the creation of an infrastructure risk guarantee fund, creation of 7 high-speed rail corridors. Now, all of this infrastructure as it comes also means that there's going to be increased demand for vertical mobility. In addition to that, of special interest to the elevator industry and also especially component industry is the creation of dedicated rare earth corridors in the states of Odisha, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu for the mining, processing, research as well as manufacturing of rare earth permanent magnets. This is obviously something of cheer, especially for the motor manufacturers who have been facing tough times recently. So while these are the provisions that the government is doing in the budget, things are also moving on the policy front. Many of you would have heard of DPIIT, the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Now, this department is quite concerned about increasing imports in the elevator industry. So what they are doing right now is in the process of gathering information to identify measures that will allow us to cut down on our import dependence. The industry has also demanded of the DPIIT that we focus on higher domestic raw material costs, what's causing it, and we have demanded incentives to offset this. But what is really a problem, especially as the quality of the elevators improve, we go taller and taller, is the need for high-speed elevators and the fact that we continue to be reliant on imports to service high-speed elevators, especially 2.5 meters per second and above. So this, again, from a policy perspective, the push towards reducing dependency on imports augurs quite well for manufacturers, both elevators as well as component manufacturers based out of India. The last piece of this, the third piece, is the FTAs, the free trade agreements. Now, you've seen a recent spurt of a lot of FTAs being signed by India with other countries, but even prior to that, India already had 13 FTAs in place. In addition to that, there were 6 limited PTAs or preferential trade agreements.